Hello there, my dear friends. It's me again, back with the third video on Daggerfall. The previous two videos were all about installing the game on modern machines and quickly adding lots of mods to make it more modern while still being relatively stable. This video will be all about creating a character that you can play all the way to the end of the main questline with. Before we start creating our character, I'm going to ask you a question. Actually, I'll ask you too. Why are we still playing Daggerfall in 2025, despite there being other, more graphically superior Elder Scrolls games out there? Why are there teams of people dedicating so much time to upgrading a game that's nearly 30 years old to make sure that they can still enjoy it to this day? Well, the answer to these two questions lies in the pure role-playing aspects of the game. Daggerfall has a detailed RPG aspect to it, which subsequent Elder Scrolls games greatly watered down in order to appeal to more mainstream audiences. This is what makes Daggerfall so unique. You aren't the chosen one who's better than everyone else at every single thing. You're a limited mortal creature that has to make realistic decisions over what skills you have dedicated your life to. But it's also what scares away people from the game, because if you don't take the character creation mechanics seriously, you could create yourself an ultimately flawed character that is so weak and ill-prepared to go out into the lands of the Iliac Bay that it can't even leave the starting dungeon without being taken out by a measly imp. Okay then, let's get started. I'm going to assume you watched the previous two videos in this series, and you have a nicely modded version of Daggerfall Unity. The character creation mechanics are going to rely on the ones that have been affected by the beginner's starter set. Let's start a new game. Here we have the world map, including all the provinces of the Empire of Tamriel, together with their associated races. We don't need to spend too much time with this. You can check it out yourself in your own time. The main thing to note in Daggerfall is that those pesky Imperials don't exist as a race of their own yet. The Imperial province is just a middle ground crossover zone for all the provinces surrounding it. So, for those of you who know me well, can you guess which race we're going to choose? That's right. We're going to choose the only race worth living for, the perfect High Elves. So now we're getting to the most important part of the character selection screen. Here you can choose from a list of classes, or you can answer a series of questions which will create the class for you. No one ever chooses the second option. Choose the first. And here are the list of classes to choose from. Again, no one ever chooses the predetermined classes, so scroll to the very bottom and choose Custom in order to customize your character's class statistics. This is the character skills screen, and we're going to create a character who is both a skilled swordsman and who will eventually be a powerful mage ready to defeat the most dangerous wizards and monsters who roam the Iliac Bay. Daggerfall has the best magic system, in my opinion. It's so versatile, and you can do so many things with it. You can create all kinds of interesting spells, and I think Daggerfall is the game where you get to feel like a real mage who is carefully honing and advancing their magic skills as our adventure progresses. But being a pure mage makes the early game very difficult. You can technically create a pure mage build in a variety of ways, through careful character creation and play styles, through modding, or through modifying the special advantages and disadvantages with things like spell absorption. However, I feel like doing these things is a step too far and ruins the immersion, so I prefer to be able to fall back on my long blade skill if my magic ever fails me. So our character will have the primary skills of long blade, destruction, and dodge. The major skills of alteration, mysticism, and restoration, together with the minor skills of critical strike, etiquette, illusion, mercantile running, and thaumaturgy. These skills will give you a highly rounded and eventually powerful character who will be able to deal with anything that gets thrown at them. If you go to uesp.net, wiki/Daggerfall:/magic_and_spells, you will find a detailed page describing all the spells and their associated schools. This detailed magic system, to me, is what makes Daggerfall such an enjoyable game. If you take the time to read and understand it, I promise you that you will enjoy it too. Next, we're going to edit the special advantages and the special disadvantages our character will possess. This will make the game easier or harder depending on our choices. Because we are creating a character who will rely on magic, we are going to add the special advantage of 3 times intelligence in spell points, which will greatly assist us when utilizing magic in the game. However, when you give yourself a special advantage like this, it will affect the game, making it easier, and that is represented in your skill advancement for your class, which will be reduced. For each special advantage we give ourselves, we should give ourselves special disadvantages of an equal weighting in order to balance out the difficulty of the game and allow our character to progress at a reasonable pace. The special disadvantages I've given myself will become obsolete after progressing a little while in the game. For example, I won't need to use any iron armor once I've been able to find steel. Again, all these tweaks that we are able to give ourselves help to create more depth to the game. You are a mortal with certain skills and abilities, weaknesses, phobias. This is the bread and butter of a true RPG. We're going to modify the max hit points we can gain per level. This will affect our character's advancement speed. Now all that is left is to name our class. It's strange, ever since the days of Morrowind, long before I ever played Daggerfall, I basically created the same custom class type, a long blade skilled mage, and I've always given it the same name, Dragon Mage. This next section isn't so important in my opinion. You can choose the first option and let it generate automatically, which will change your standing with various broad groups of NPCs in the game. Or you can answer a series of questions which will make further changes to your character based upon your answers. I'm going to choose the second option, but I'm going to speed up the video a little bit. If you want to see it in detail, you can slow it down. Now name thyself. Give yourself a strong and proud name, a hero's name. I don't know, a name like Callum Neal. And choose thy face. Unfortunately, there are no faces here with the beautiful golden locks adorning a high elf such as myself, so I'm going to settle with this guy. This part requires patience. Like the original tabletop RPGs, we'll be using simulated dice to give ourselves bonus points. Keep rolling and rolling and rolling until you get enough points to give yourself around 60 points per stat. As you've probably figured out yourself, changing the values of the stats on the left will affect your damage, spell points, your ability to resist magic, your chance to hit, your bonus, hit points, and healing rate. If you find a good roll, you can save it until you find something better. But don't keep rolling forever. If you give yourself at least 55 for each stat, you're more than prepared to start Daggerfall and have a great time. Remember, your stats are going to increase anyway as you progress through the game. We're nearing the end of the character setup, I promise. Here are the final points to distribute to your skills based on how well you created your character. As you can see, based on our previous selections, our destruction skill is very high at 40%. To be honest, if we start out at anything higher than this, I'd feel like we're cheating at the game. It's good to be competent at some things from the outset, but also we wouldn't feel the thrill of the adventure if we didn't have space to grow and learn with each challenge that the game presents us with. I changed my mind here and I decided to distribute these points to Critical Strike in order to help me with my early battles. Likewise, the choice is all yours. I wouldn't worry about this part too much. If you read it, it's pretty self-explanatory. I always leave it at average. Just don't forget to change your weapon swing settings to click in the settings when you first start the game. If you don't have weapon swing on click, you'll be driven with complete frustration. You'll know if you haven't done it correctly when you frantically try to strike the first rat you encounter and die a humiliating death. And there we have it, friends. We have a great character to start our Daggerfall adventure with. I hope this guide has proven to be very helpful to you. If it has, please give the video a like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate that very much. The next video will be a playthrough of Daggerfall's first dungeon, the Privateer's Hold. We'll leave it together by using a variety of long blade skills and magic against the enemies within until we escape and reach the surface.